Welcome. You are listening to the Louie Minor Show. I'm your host, Bell County Commissioner Louie Minor. Today is November 8th, 2024. It's been a while, so let's catch up. We have a lot to talk about. Well, let's begin with, the top news of the day.
Breaking news from the decision desk. NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president. And for so many of you watching right now, that news is, to say the least, a lot to digest. I understand that personally. After he lost 4 years ago, he refused to accept the outcome and incited a violent insurrection on our nation's capital. He's campaigned while facing criminal indictments related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 results, and he's run as a convicted felon. During this campaign, he has also promised to essentially be an authoritarian leader, to use power like no American president ever has before, and wield that power to go after his political enemies. This is a man who's also bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade and stripping away women's bodily autonomy. He's promised to conduct mass deportations to crack down on the rights of millions of Americans. Donald Trump is an anti-democratic force, but he's just been elected democratically in our country.
Well, there you have it. We're going to have 4 more years of President Donald Trump, and I'm old enough to remember how crazy it was, and yeah, we're going to get that again. I think that a lot of our new voters, people that voted, they don't remember how bad it was with Donald Trump locking up kids, separating kids at the border. But now he wants to do tariffs, 20% tariffs on everything. So we will see what happens. But let's look. I've been listening. This is 3 days after the election. And, listening to podcasts, listening to pundits talk about what happened. This wasn't something that just happened in Bell County or in Texas. It happened nationally, that a lot of Democrats voted for Trump. So they're not happy. They care about their pocketbook issues. And they really don't care about a candidate shortcomings, as long as they're hearing the right thing, that you're going to get more money in their pocket. And that's what this election is telling us. But I mean, we don't have to look far to see what happened, at least in Bell County. I mean, my plan is to go precinct by precinct and do a deep dive into everything that happened in the county. But let's look at the 2020 election. In 2020, in Bell County, we had 125,867 people turn out to vote. And of that number, Donald Trump and Mike Pence still won the county, but with only 53.32% of the vote. That, in the raw number, is 67,113 votes. And President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got 44.52% of the vote, or the raw numbers, 56,032. So that's only roughly about an 11,000 vote difference. And we've seen this trend narrowing in the county ever since I got into politics. Back in 2013, whenever I first got back to Texas, I ran for Congress. it was a big, it was 20 points. So since then, we've been marching to narrowing that gap, and it just shot right back. So let's look at these preliminary with Trump at the top of the ticket and Vance 57.4% of the vote. Well, let's go back. Total 130,705, and these are pre-canvass, not official results. 130,705, and see, I already see a discrepancy here. Well, at least for president, vice president, said 131. I'm looking at the Bell County Elections website, but it says 131,120 voted. But here under the president it says 130,705. So, like I said, these numbers are still being cleaned up, but and we got mail-ins that are still trickling in, and then they have some votes to cure, I'm sure, provisional. So, anyways, take that for what it is. But let's look at what it says under president and vice president. We have 130,705 total votes. Of that, President Trump and J.D. Vance, Senator Vance, got 57.4%, 57.40% of the vote. And the raw number, 75,031 votes. Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, and Tim Walz got 41.16% of the vote, 53,800 votes. The raw number. That's 20-something thousand vote difference. So it's obvious that Democrats, people that voted Democrat before, voted for Trump. Now, if you remember, I remember the first term of President Trump in 2016, we had a massive shift in 2018. We had a lot of Democrats get into office in 2018 at the state house, at federal level, and I'm going to go out on a ledge now and predict that that's going to happen again. People forgot how bad Donald Trump is, all the chaos that he caused, but they're going to get reminded real quick as soon as he gets into office. We all hope that he will do better, but we just know that's not the case. And I guess Republicans are fine with that, but the middle is not. And they'll come back to the Democratic side. So, the Nancy Pelosi has a great saying. Read her book, The Art of Power. It just came out a month or two ago, a couple of months ago. And she has a great saying. We don't get mad, we organize. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to get mad. We're going to organize. Matter of fact, we had a meeting last night with the Killeen Democrats, and we were exactly discussing that. People are mad already. They're mad, and they're ready to roll up their sleeves and put in the work. And so am I. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is a long game. I've been doing this for over a decade. I think 10, 12 years now. And, I had some friends, a lot of people lost statewide, some seats that I was looking at. If we look at one of my friends, Louie Sanchez, he was 16 years, that's 4 terms, Midland County Commissioner. He was the last Democrat on the Commissioner's Court out in Midland County, and he lost his reelection. I spoke to him yesterday. So, he knew it was going to be a tough tough fight. He wanted, he was not able to overcome this this red wave, I guess. And then in McLennan County, precinct 2, they ran for Pat Miller. She passed away in office. The judge, and this had been a long time, 30, 40-year seat, Democratic seat, the only Democratic seat in McLennan County, the county judge could have appointed someone to the commissioner's court. That would have been the most appropriate thing to do, because now this person has been, this seat, these constituents, precinct 2, have been without representation for going to be close to a year now. But anyways, the Democratic candidate that was appointed to fill that vacancy by the precinct chairs to run, because he called for an election, by he, I mean the county judge, and he lost. So this, for the first time, this is going to be a Republican seat. Now, I would expect in 2026, because this isn't going to be a full term, I would expect that to go back to the Democrat. And then here locally in Bell County, no new pickups. No new pickups. We had candidates run just about at every level, a lot of contested races. So I want to thank all of our candidates that stepped up to the plate, put the work in, put the time in. Running for office is not easy. Whenever you have your norms, your schedules in life, and then you decide to run for office and you're getting pulled 100 ways just from campaigning, and then you still have family responsibilities and work responsibilities. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I want to thank all the candidates that ran and stepped up to the plate. You gave the people of Bell County a choice. And I know that they thank you for that, because for many, many years, we never had a choice. And you've seen that on the Republican side too. They were concerned, as they should be. You don't know how the elections are how they're gonna turn out. But I seen Republicans. Well, first of all, I saw Republicans just getting yard signs and 4x8 and 4x4 signs. They've never done that before. I've seen candidates, incumbents, talking to voters, being at the polls, knocking on doors, and they've never done that before. They never had to. So I think that they know now, moving forward, that in Bell County, if you're an elected official, a incumbent Republican, you're going to have a Democratic opponent. The citizens demand a choice, and we're going to give them that choice. So, unfortunately, we didn't have any pickups this election cycle, but at least all of our Democratic candidates, our Democratic incumbents, they held. We didn't lose any seats, so that was a good thing, because that wasn't the same outcome in other parts of the state. And so we got to look at base building again, getting back to the basics, and talking to voters, talking to people, even off cycle, and engaging with them off cycle. To me, I think that this is, every election is important, but in the governor's election cycle, that's how we pick who's going to be the election judge for whatever precincts. We have 60 something precincts in Bell County. And the way it works is if whoever your candidate is for governor, say, the Republican or the Democrat, if that precinct is won by the Republican precinct, or the if that precinct is won by the Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate for the next 4 years, that will be who the election judge is. So the election judge is in charge of that precinct during voting, and then they have an alternate, which would be the other party. So that's kind of how it works. So, yeah, we have a lot of things to do, a lot of work to do, and for 2026. But we're ready to do the work. Yeah, we are ready to do the work. There's a bunch of after action reviews coming. I think there's one this weekend for Texas Progressive Caucus. There's one on the 19th from the National Democratic County officials. I'm sure there'll be more of what's going on. And I know that there is no appetite, zero appetite for our state chair, Gilberto Hinojosa, who has been there since 2012, so over 10 years. He's been the only state chair that I have known since being in office. And I know his last election cycle, he had some opponents that ran against him, and he was still able to win. He did mention that in his last election that he is not going to run for re-election. And just so you know, for people that have not been to a Democratic convention, the state chair is elected by the delegates at the state convention during a governor's year. So he's there for 4 years. He or she is there for 4 years and is elected by all the delegates that are there. Now, I don't know what happened. I'm assuming there was some type of briefing or phone call with Texas Democratic Party executives, SDEC members. But I started seeing on social media that Chairman Hinojosa had made some comments about transgenders, our transgender community, and that did not go over well with a lot of people. So they immediately started calling for him to resign. And Quorum Report, Scott Braddock from the Quorum Report tweeted out this morning that today is Friday, that rumors are that Chairman Hinojosa is going to resign today. So we will see if that happens. I know we're eager, and by we I mean Democratic Party. We've lost every election. For 30 years we've been losing elections here in Texas. We have been seeing the gap narrow for the past 10 years, but we went backwards this election. And so we even lost the valley. If you look at, it was reported Starr County and down on the valley, the Rio Grande Valley, the border, they went Democrat for the first time in 120-something years. They're back to being Republican. Well, at least one election. And so, we haven't picked up anything. We lost seats, and now we're losing counties that in the valley that have been Democrat for a very, very long time. So it is time for a change at the top. I was ready for change at the top the last election when we picked a chair. So we definitely need to have a robust conversation, robust debate of who that person is going to be. And if the chair does resign, maybe we need to have a special emergency delegate meeting of who were delegates this last election. I don't think the executive board should be appointing a chair. It needs to be from the people, the delegates, the activists, the people that do the work day in and day out, a majority of those delegates. This is too important to just leave it up to our executive committee to make a selection of our state chair for the next two years. Because in 2026, after the primary, then probably June, July, we'll go into the convention, we'll go into the state convention, and then that's when the person would be selected. So then really they have just a couple of months as chair before the election in November. So it's really not a lot of time for them to have an effect on that 2026 November election. So if the chairman steps down, I'm going to have to pull up the Texas Democratic Party bylaws and see what the bylaws say about our state chair. And if there's a vacancy, how is that filled? I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's something easy like the vice chair will step up. But I think we need to have some type of an emergency meeting of delegates from this last meeting, in my opinion. So, anyways, we'll find out more about that, and in the future, well, maybe here in a couple of hours, because it's supposed to happen here pretty soon. But yeah, there is I've talked to people from all over the country. I had people calling me, Louie, what do we do? What do you think is going to happen? And I'm trying to calm everyone down. People are afraid we're not going to have any more elections, and I don't believe in that. I think we will have elections. Will it get bad for people? Yes. Will it get bad for immigrants? Yes. Will it get bad for women? Yes. Will it get bad for LGBT community? Yes. But we're going to have to show out in 2026. And that's what it takes. People doing the work. Remember, we don't get mad. We organize. And that's what we have to be focused on. We can't take our eye off the ball getting sidetracked. We're going to have to, protect what we can. Hopefully we pick up the House. We don't know who's going to be in charge of the House. Obviously, the Donald Trump won the presidency, so they have that, and they picked up the Senate. By they, I mean Republicans. They picked up the Senate, so now we're just looking to see who is going to run the House, because it's still not known. Let me see. Let me look online real quick just to see what the top headline is. They need 218 218 to be the majority in the House. And as of right now, the GOP picked up 211 seats, and the Democrats are at 299. I don't know how many are still left to call. Let me see if it says it anywhere on here. I think the last thing I heard, I don't know how many are left still to call. But with that said, I think there's still enough out there that the Republican or the Democrats can pick it up. And they said it may be weeks before we know. Apparently this has something to do with California, because California is historically really slow at counting votes. And a lot of these districts are in California. So yeah, there's still hope that at least we could have one check on the president. If there are no checks, then that is going to be an issue. So fingers crossed. There's still hope out there for that. And if not, then yeah, we're going to be in for a wild ride. So anyways, I'll be here with you talking through everything, talking to people in the community and listening, letting you know what's going on in your county government, what's going on city, what's going on in the state. Now that I've been in office for about 2 years, I'm getting more and more knowledgeable of what's going on and how things work. We have a legislative session coming up in November, or I'm sorry, in January. And we already know that voucher is going to be top priority. Is that going to pass or not? Who knows? But there's a lot of things that we're going to be working on. And by we, I mean the county that we're looking to push through our legislative priorities. And we'll see how our state legislators support those or not. And then we can hold them accountable, him or her. So yeah, there's a lot still to come. We have that legislative session. Last one, it went almost the entire year. I forgot how many special sessions they had. But I definitely plan on being involved, helping out where I can at the Texas Association of Counties, Conference of Urban Counties, and here locally. So I'll be doing everything I can where I can, and you could get involved too. Get involved in your city councils. Get involved attending meetings. Get involved commissioner's court, and get involved during this legislative session. So there's a lot of things that we could be doing as organizers and activists within our community to affect change. And that's what I'm going to be looking at you to roll up your sleeve. And remember, we don't get mad. We organize. I'll say it one more time. We don't get mad. We organize. So take this time off, recharge your battery, enjoy your holidays. I'm still going to be podcasting, so you can listen to me during your holidays as well. But take time, recharge your battery, enjoy the family, and get ready to go to work beginning of the year, legislative session, because we have work to do to protect our schools, to protect our rights and our values, and hold elected officials accountable. And that's what we have to do. So, with that said, I will come to you soon. And like I said, I want to do a deep dive into the elections and what happened in Bell County, precinct by precinct, historically over the last couple of years, and see where we lost our voters at. And we know they're Democrats that flipped. But anyways, we'll get into that in the next episode. Thank you for listening. Monday is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to my fellow veterans. You earned it. Let's remember all the sacrifices of our veterans. So thank a veteran. They do normally do a lot of free foods. Restaurants do free foods, drinks, whatever. So go out and enjoy all that stuff. You earned it. I'm sure the city of Killeen is doing a parade to honor the veterans. So do what you can. Remember a veteran. Thank a veteran. We have court on Tuesday, and I haven't seen the agenda yet, or so I would mention the agenda. But anyways, I will see you at the next episode. Have a great day.